Hello everyone and welcome. Sir Trace here, bringing you a video today on iAnalyze racing. I've searched through YouTube. I didn't find much information, reviews on iAnalyze. Um, I'm fairly new to the iRacing sim. I've raced quite a bit online, but new to iRacing in itself. Several options available for telemetry. I have found that iAnalyze offers the best ease of use, no steep learning curves, and it offers the best information. Um, when you download iAnalyze and you bring up the server, this is going to be your home screen. You're going to have a map source, data source, and a reference source. Your map source is going to be the track that you raced, practiced, whatever it may be. You can see here as you hover over it, it says practice 120 minutes. Let's go down to Thompson here. And at Thompson, I did a practice, qualify, and race, which was for a league race for street stock. But that's going to be your map source. And you can see here it brings up your first lap. Your first lap, every time you do a telemetry session, will be your map lap. So it's very important as you ride around. No spins. You just want to get the good smooth map lap. Under your data source, you can pull up. This is pulled up two different occasions here. Pulls up the same information that's under your map source. This is a race. I'm going to pull up in my data source. In my reference, I'm going to pull up a practice session. Now you see the little boxes here beside of each lap I have selected. You can have export lap data with setup, which means you can send that to a friend, send it to a folder, email it, whatever. And then this is save setup used for this lap. So if I go over here to my practice and I'm trying to choose between a conventional or big bar car, doing different shock packages, spring packages, whatever I have my fast lap set at, if I'm doing a qual run, whatever it may be, I can save setup used for this lap. You save it and it goes into your folders, much like if you try to download a setup used offline. So we've got these two clicked here. My fast lap during a race, fast lap during practice, and you can see they're different. So we'll go up here to the top. We have data source, driver, steering, track, gearing, ride heights, so on and so forth. And I'll go through each one of these very briefly. This graph shows your speed, steering, input, and your pedals. You can see as we drag it through, the graph changes. Here I don't pay too much attention here. You can see up top you have your time distance loss graph as well. You go over to your steering input and you see your lateral acceleration for both data and reference lap. And you have another graph for it as well. Track, you have time distance loss graph up top. And you have your entire track here. As you scroll around, you can see we're gaining quite a bit coming out of the corner here, and then we lose quite a bit going into the corner. Gearing, same gear ratio used for both cars. This comes into play if you're trying to mimic another driver. You can see up top here the speed cuts out probably about 107, as far as the reference lap goes up to 109. If you see if you're trying to mimic another driver, maybe they're using a different gear ratio than the slope will be different. I like to use a lower gear ratio than most people, just due to especially with a late model car on your short tracks. If you use too high of a gear ratio, it almost causes a snap loose condition on exit. So the next tab is where I like to spend most of my time. Your ride heights. You can see I do have my reference and data source on here at the same time. Your top, you have left front, right front. Your bottom, you have left rear, right rear. Each one of your boxes, you have a max and a minimum, as well as your reference, you have a max and a minimum. What I want to pay attention here, I like doing a baseline setup and then kind of doing a hybrid. I know it's unconventional. You have the guys that use a conventional setup or use a big bar soft spring setup. I kind of like to do what the track wants to do. I implement parts from both setups. I like to run a hillbilly or a cowboy front end, which means you have a higher compression or a higher strength left front, bigger left front spring than you do your right front. And in the rear, I like to run a higher right rear with a moderate split between my right rear and left rear spring. And then I'll adjust my sway bar. Sometimes I'll use a 1.5, 1.75 all the way up to, I've got a couple setups with a 2. And then I use this to adjust my shock package. What I'm looking for here are these really sharp changes. As long as I'm going into a corner, that is okay. You can see here as I hover over this, I look on my map, and that's what I'm doing. I'm braking as I go into a corner, and that's fine. You want that weight transfer to the front because you want your front end to grip. I'm going through the corner, fairly level, all the way up, and then I brake again. What you don't want is if you look over and see my car, which is right here in this section of the map, as I come off of the corner, you don't want to see a huge change between what your left front is doing and your right front. If your left front is raising up in the air and your right front is staying fairly level, that's unwanted weight transfer. You want that left front to stay down as long as it possibly can to help you get through the corner. Now, left rear, right rear is fairly straight, and that's where we want it. I use this graph more than any other ones to help me tune my car. Then you go to your lap report here. That shows you your ideal lap. Fuel report. When I use my baseline setups, and as many of you all may know, it's going to give you a full tank. It's going to give you 12 gallons, 20 gallons, whatever it may have. This race at 5 Flags is a 50 lap race. So when I go out and practice, and I come back here, my fuel report, it's giving me my average, my median. So I'm using 1/10 of a gallon per lap. So based on that, at 7 gallons, which is what I have in there now, because 6 gallons puts me right at 50, it'll give me 57.5. That's standard. If I go over here to aggressive, 59 laps, and that is an aggressive fuel strategy. That means you're letting off early, rotating on the gas very easy. And a conservative, which I feel is backwards, a conservative fuel strategy, which is no fuel conservation whatsoever, I've got 56 laps. And again, this is no cautions, so 7 gallons for me works best. Hopefully this can give you a little bit of insight on how I use iAnalyze to help me set up my cars, especially through ride heights. What I would like to see iAnalyze do is somewhere in here put in a tire temp tab where you can see your actual contact patch, your actual tire temperatures, because I use tire temps as well as ride heights to set up my car. Feel free to leave any comments, any questions, any future video ideas. Feel free to subscribe. I'm going to put up several more videos here over the next few weeks following my career through iRacing. Thanks everyone for your time, and have a great day.